Okay, so I saw this really nice post about guessing a certain set of brands. Let's see. So here's Casey Ricky's post, and the problem statement is simple. Can you guess this brand? Okay, that's one. Do not answer. Probably keep it in your mind. This one. I think I know this one. Maybe. I don't think so. Could be. Probably. Yes. Definitely yes. I don't know why. This one. Okay, yeah, this I know. And this one I also know. But why are we talking about this in a tutorial when we're talking about Figma? So the reason I am over here and we're talking about these brands is because we are talking about how they stylize themselves. When they create a specific style which is so unique to their particular featuring or offering, whether it be coffee or whether it is a music playing subscription based app like this one. Yeah. So the thing is, with all of these brands, they have created a sense of style that uniquely differentiates them. The reason why we're talking about this is because when we are creating a new app or a Figma interface like this, we want it to reflect the nature, the nuances that the app stands for, or actually the brand stands for. You can't think of Coca-Cola being in a purple color, can you? Yeah, that's slightly difficult. So that's why when we ever start working on a particular app or any sort of design, we need to make sure that there are certain styles that continue being used forward. And those styles are basically reflections. For instance, now it might not be such a good idea to have a pink sign up button over here and a red one over here. That just doesn't feel right, isn't it? It also gives you more sense of, how do I say this? A sense of understanding. You already know what that color means because you've probably seen it somewhere else also. Probably in the initial phases, it's okay because you might not have understood it deeply at that point in time, but over time, when you keep seeing that button over and over again, you get some sort of a mechanical memory. I don't know what the right word is, but some sort of intuition that this is what that button is supposed to do, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. So welcome back. We are here to understand styles in Figma. Let's get started. Oh, by the way, the logos that we were looking at earlier, the brands that we were talking about earlier, skip to the end of the video. So if you want to get the answers, or stick with me, understand the entire styles about Figma, and then you'll anyway get the answer at the end. So see you there. Hey, before we get started, I want to remind you that this is the 5th video in the series of learning Figma. We've been talking about these videos, and if you are interested in learning Figma, go to the first video. Probably you should be seeing a playlist button right to somewhere over here on the UI. Check that out and learn Figma with me. And all the more better, there is a certification course that I have been working with the team to create something on UX and UI. The link is in the description. And make sure that you complete that particular course if you want to get into roles which is revolving around product design, and it will give you a lot of experience that certificate really counts for. Well, now let's start with understanding why and how do we apply styles. So when I'm here in Figma and I have not selected anything, you can see that there are a couple of buttons over here. There's something called local variables, there's local styles and export. We'll be talking about local styles today. So let me give you a simple example, right? And let's say both of these text. So this one and this one, I do see that there is similarity over here, but there is a slight difference in the font size, in the placement. Those sort of things can be set very well in stone by using styles itself. So for instance, if I do have a new style sheet over here, so let's just call this style sheet. And I will create a frame because it's easy to maintain everything that way, and I will create a simple text. Let's call this medium text. Okay, and let's also define it, what the properties are going to be. So 26 point and 26 spacing. Okay, so I do have this. Let's change the settings over here as well. This is supposed to be 26 and Okay, so this is all good, and 26 spacing, this is well done. Now let's select or duplicate of this one. Let's call this one small text, and let's do this at 20 point and 20 spacing. Okay, and let's do another version of this one called tiny text, and this one is supposed to be, let's say, 16 point and 16 point spacing as well. All of these I would want to be left aligned, so let's left align all of these. Everything is good. Let's just align over here. Now this is supposed to be 26. We've made it 26. Now this one is supposed to be 20. So go down and go down over here as well. I have a 20 point, and this is supposed to be 16 and 16. Okay, great. What have I done? I've created 3 different types of text. Now once these texts are created, I can create a style out of this, so that every time that I'm using a text on screen, it does not deviate a lot. Doesn't make sense a lot right now, maybe, but just stay with me. So here I have the first one. I will go to these 4 dots over here. Now these are called styles, and if I click on over here, I would be able to see if there was any style that has already been created, or I can make this one as a new style. So when I click on this, maybe I'll just call this medium 26 point. Okay, and create a style. I'll also check the color. So color is another thing that maybe we can check. And let's say if I have this in hex code, let's do it a nice 101010 sort of text, right? And it looks, the a slightly grayish version is generally more preferred. It's slightly easier on the eyes, and in terms of contrast, it does perform better as well. So here I have another structure, another fill layer that has been created, and I can create a style of this one as well. So again, you can see this button right over here. Actually, it's this one over here, and then you click on this button, play. So once I've created this fill, I can click on this button over here, very similar dots. Do not confuse it for this one. I end up doing that once in a while, but that is for adding another layer of fill. But here what I would want is open styles and variables. In the library, again, no colors are available. If I just add this one and call this neutral dark gray, that's the color that we're going to be using. Well, okay. Similarly, for this one, let's just select 101010, and there we have that. And then we select this button over here, create a new style called small and 20 point, create style. So we have another style over here. And lastly, over here with this one, tiny 16 point, and the color 101010. Okay, great. So I've created 3 different types of text. Now the thing is, the fun bit is, because I've created it over here, you can see the styles have been created, and not just for text, for the color as well. So you can see that this color has now been created. Now the thing is, once you create a style, it is possible to use it locally within that file system. So if I have multiple pages, I will be able to use it in one of them. So if I go back to page 1, select one of these layers. So let's say this one. I can choose the library of styles that has been created and make sure that it sticks to that, so that there is sort of consistency throughout the entire thing, right? So maybe just create it as small 20 point, and for this one also maybe I just can create something as that. Now for the color as well, for this bit I would want the color, so let's add from the library add a neutral dark gray, and similarly over here as well, if I just select all of them, neutral dark gray. So that is the color that has been created, right? Now I don't have something for pink, so let's create one for pink also. Let's go back into the style sheet. Just to make it a little bit more fun, I will create ellipses instead of text so that I can play around with it. And now this one is supposed to be, let's say, neutral dark gray, and this one is okay, light gray. So maybe I'll just create a new library style for this, neutral light gray. I like the color, D9 sounds nice. And let's create another version which is slightly lighter, which I can use for maybe this text right over here, isn't it? So for this, let me create. Okay, so now what has happened, you can see that because I've created a replica of this, it has gotten created by itself as one of those styles. Now I can remove this, create another one, first a style, and maybe decrease the lightness. Actually, I can do this. I can change this as the light gray and then make this one medium gray, right? So between dark and light, there could be something, right? So here's the fun bit. Once you have created a particular style, you can go ahead and edit it also. How do you do that? Let's click on this. You can see neutral light gray. Click on this over here. You can see this small button right over here that looks like settings. I can go to settings. I can go to the properties and then I can change the color over here. So let's say I just make it. Yes, there it is. So this is neutral medium gray. Okay, great. And this shall become our light gray. Let's create this one, neutral light gray. Fun. Okay. So what we have done is we have created 3 different circles, and all of these different circles are just different representations of the styles. And you can see that in the color styles layer over here as well. We were talking about the pink. I also have in mind this purple because that's something that we're going to be using again and again. So let's create a new ellipse, something like this. Okay, and give it the purple color. Maybe, yeah, I think this is somewhat related to the color. And let's create a style out of this as well. Okay, so we'll just call this brand purple. That is the one that we're going to use, and a new one. Now remove the style, add a new fill, and this new fill shall be probably somewhat pink. Okay, yeah, I think this color looks better. And let's create a style out of this. From here, add this new button. Let's call this brand pink maybe. Okay, so we have a new style. Okay, now that this is done, let's go back into the page 1 and select that part of the text. And now instead of having this fill, I can directly choose the brand pink. Oh, great. And over here again, let's just choose the brand pink. The button over here has a purple color, but instead of purple color, I would rather want it to be brand purple. Yeah, okay, looks good. This text, both of these text could be just from my medium 26 point, looks big. Maybe I can change that, make it small, 26, 20 point. Yeah, I think this looks good. Maybe I just need another style variation of probably around 24 point. That would fit better over here. But okay, I think we can still work with this. Now, this is what we did, right? We created multiple styles, and those styles, the best part is, those styles are dynamic, right? So currently we have created like probably a purple over here, but if I wanted to change the color purple and make it slightly different, you can select this. I can, if I'm not selecting anything, you can see that I see all of these settings over here. Select the settings button for brand purple, open it up over here, maybe make it somewhat darker, and you can see that everywhere that this color has been used, or basically this color style has been used, will reflect the same color, right? So over here, or in fact over here as well. So this is where we probably want a brand color, and both of these Skittles could be probably medium gray. Yeah. So that's the thing. That's basically what styles are supposed to be. You can create multiple copies, you can create multiple styles. And another part, if you have multiple layers or multiple different styles, you can also right click them and add a new folder and just call this neutrals. Fun. And again, maybe I'll just add a new folder for these. Let's call them brand colors. There we go. So you can create multiple different patterns, multiple different styles for text, for colors. Here's another thing. Let's do that for the effects as well. So if you remember from the previous video, we had selected an effect for this bit. So here's my sign in button. You can see that there is a drop shadow that we had created. right? So let's select that button and open up the drop shadow that we had created. Very similar, those 4 dots. Click over here, you can see a plus button and just call it soft shadow. DOW. Okay, great. So this is what we have created. And now this soft shadow that has been added onto this one can be added for the other one also. So at any point in time, if I do want to change the kind of shadow and how the shadow looks like, that can be modified and it will reflect very similarly across everywhere that the style has been used. So you can see that a new soft shadow style has also been created as called as effect styles. So for these buttons that I have over here, those input ones, where is this? So we have frame 5, we have frame 6, we have those inputs. Okay. And I can see on both of these inputs there is a drop shadow. I will remove this and I will select the soft shadow over here. Great. Now let's do a small test, right? So instead of having just a black color, what if I had a slightly different color over here? You see how everything gets changed directly? Maybe I'd want it somewhat of a purple and probably we can add more blur or actually make it more blurry and reduce the white distance over here as well. Probably what happens if I do increase the spread? No, I think the spread is okay. So maybe the opacity could go down a bit. So it has a soft purple tinge on my screen. It's very evident. It's not very evident, but it's very calming and very soothing and presents the entire brand as a structure. So this is what we had about specific styles. The idea that you can create a specific set of styles that you can be replicated, and the fun bit is it is not limited to only your project. Now think of it this way: you have multiple people working on your project because Figma is a collaborative tool. You might have about 3 or 4 designers working on a single project together, maybe working on different screens, right? For all of those to have a very structured and a very consistent stylization, styles in Figma work very well. So this is what we have created. Now go ahead, try a couple of these and we will come back and probably try to create a couple of more screens like this. But before we do that, here is something that I would want to explain to you. You see that all of these are very similar buttons and probably some of them have slightly different colors or different fills. We will create something which is very similar to styles called components. Now the fun bit about components is it works very similar to styles, but it is a slightly more nuanced aspect of design. We are talking about exact or replicatable aspects or replicatable layers that can be created again and again, and all of them will work very similarly and very seamlessly. I will talk about this in the upcoming video. But hey, before we close on this one, I hope that you have been able to understand what styles are. Make sure that you like this video, share it with somebody who you think you might be collaborating with in the future so that you can set your styles in place before moving forward. And subscribe to the Design Up channel. Anyway, I did promise earlier that we are going to be talking about those brands. I'm going to be revealing the answers to the brands. So here we go. This first one is Google, if you guessed it well. Starbucks, McDonald's, I think this was easy. This one is for Ford. Then we have UPS. This is LinkedIn. You can see it right over here. Now, if you're watching this video from India, you might not recognize this that easily, but this is TikTok. There we have Pepsi. I think this was easy. That is Amazon. Yeah. Here we have Coca-Cola. Then we have Spotify, and finally we have, and this is not the flag of Brazil. This is Ferrari. I hope you like this video. I will see you in the next one.